Hi everyone, today I'm going to be reviewing the BEASTCAM app. With news of Film It Pro turning to subscription in the near future, it's time to start thinking about other apps that could be more affordable. Now its current price is £1.99, which is extremely cheap. Even at full price at £4.99, it is still a bargain. So today I want to see how much of a bargain it is, and at £1.99, is it worth that little punt to give yourself a different option for filmmaking? You've got the record button on the right hand side here, so pressing that makes the whole outline of the screen go red. This is one of the things I really like about BEASTCAM. It's very simple and it's a nice little touch that actually just helps you understand, oh yeah, I'm recording, and it makes it feel a bit more professional. Press stop and that becomes one of your files in the bottom right of the screen. Now just above the red button you've got visual analytics, so you've got focus peaking, zebra stripes, false color. And you've got auto as well, so if you wanted to start moving your focus around, you can then see how that will affect your image whilst you're using it. Now above that, you've got presets. This is one of the things that actually I did find quite confusing, because you've got current presets which you can then make your default preset. You can save them so you can then reload from out of the app into it with a preset all ready to go. But with all these options, I kept finding it difficult because I kept choosing 25 frames per second and finding that actually it had gone back to 30, which I see at the top here. It's a little bit annoying, but it's something I'm probably just getting wrong. You've also got a magnifying glass here. If you tap on that, that gets you much closer in on your image. So if you want to use that for white balancing a bit easier, that's something you could use. It's not something I personally would use. Now looking at the focus reticule here and the exposure reticule, they work in exactly the same way as any other app really, like Film It Pro. You can move them around the screen to put them on something close up for a shallow depth of field, something further away for a deep depth of field, and then you tap on it to make it blue and that locks it. Same with exposure, you can move that around. You get it to where you want to, just press on it, that makes it blue, that's locked. Nice and easy. If you hold on them, that puts you into a run and gun situation, so that expands the focus reticule and the exposure reticule, nice and simple. Tap on them again to make them smaller, or hold on them to make them smaller. Now one of my favourite things about this app, if you look at the top of the screen, you've got the most important details written right across the top. So you've got standard for your stabilisation that you're using. I'm using 4K 30 frames per second, 10-bit colour. That's the timer in the middle of your clip that you're shooting. You've then got the gigabytes of space left in your storage, which is really important because with Film It Pro you have a color coordinated situation which allows you to know whereabouts you are in your storage, but it doesn't actually tell you specifically in gigabytes how much you've got left, whereas with BEASTCAM it tells you exactly how much you've got, which is really important, particularly if you're filming long clips in 4K. That's going to make a big difference. Then on the right hand side you've got the percentage of battery left. Again, that's specified exactly how the native app is in your phone. If we make our way to the left hand side, we've got a digital slate, so we can start a digital slate and we can call this project something like Beast Scene 1. And now you've got that project titled at the top of your screen, so you'll always know that you're in the correct project settings. The second option down gives you your lens picker, which is really nice. All of these options, guys, come up really smoothly. As soon as you tap them, they just slide out. It's very, very slick. You've got your ultra-wide lens, you've got your zoom lens, and you've got your front camera as well. Below that, you've got what kind of resolution are you filming in, your frames per second. I'll change that to 25 because that's what I normally film a film in. And you've got different qualities. So you've got low, standard, high, or beast. Now beast films in 150 megabytes, and in your bit rate you've got 8-bit, 10-bit, 10-bit HDR. Below that you've got your torch, which you can then turn on and slide up to see how much power you want to use from that torch. If you want to use that for your filming, whether you're vlogging, that could be something that's quite useful as well. Or you tap it again to turn it off. You've got a microphone for different settings. Again, it describes it really nice and clearly and smoothly. So you've got the bottom mic, you've got what format your audio is going to be recorded in, and you've got a microphone you can have up to 100%, etc, etc. Now something I forgot to mention at the top left is if you press on the three dots, you can also change the brightness of your screen. So if you slide that down, clearly that goes really dark, and if you bring it right to the top, that makes it its brightest and how you would see it with your eyes and how it's going to be when you get it back in post-production, your clips. Now the reason this is really good is because when you're filming outdoors or indoors, sometimes you forget what brightness your phone is, and I know I do. And it's really useful to have this in the app so that you don't have to go out of the app and back in. Now if you go into settings, there's a few interesting points here as well to take note of. You've got gesture controls in settings. So if we press on gesture controls, close come out of the app, you can then use your fingers to swipe outwards from left to right, to zoom, and you can go from up and down to change your exposure if you want to. Now that's not something I personally would use, but if that's something you'd want to use, that's an option as well for you, and then it's easily turned off. You can set your default presets to start when you open up the app, which is really useful. You've got quick zoom, so you can actually change the speed of your zoom as well. You've got screen lock, you can tap the interface, so to hide it, I have that switched on, so if you've got all of these things all around the screen and you feel like this is just too much, when you're filming and pressing record. If you want to stop, you press stop, and that just pauses the video. So then you can carry it on to another location or just turn the camera to a different angle, unpause it, and it carries on recording again and again and again. And if you want to completely stop it, you just hold on the stop. We've got the white balance. You can go auto white balance. And again, this describes in detail. So you've got the color temperatures here, which is really, really useful to know. And I really love that about Beastcam app. It does a lot to explain exactly what you're looking at. And then to lock your white balance, you just tap K, and that turns it blue at the bottom. You've also got the wheel here, so you can make that higher or lower, cooler or warmer. And then you've got 1, 2, 3 next to the wheel here, and that means you can create 3 different presets. So you can have 4250 Kelvin, tap on one, that'll make it blue. Go to a different color temperature, tap it, turn it blue. Different color temperature, tap it, turn it 3. 3 different presets you can have. To turn them off, you then just hold them and you can reset. Now when it comes to using the focus wheel, this is absolutely fantastic. It's really intuitive and it really does react very quickly to your touch. Wherever you touch it on the wheel, it moves instantly, and it's very, very touch sensitive in a good way. One of the best features about the focusing in Beastcam is you can not only create an automatic focus pull, but you can create an automatic focus pull with 3 different points of focus. So for example, if we make sure we have our focus on our man right here, then we tap on one, that turns blue, so that's locked in our first point of focus. Now we move that away, so we go to that plant right in the background and we tap 2. Now we're going to bring the focus to that middle plant and tap 3, and you've got the timing in between your focus pulls just above these numbers, so you've got 3 seconds at the moment, but you can change that from 0 to 10, but we'll be keeping it at 3 for the time being. So what happens is if I press 1, you can see that changing the focus to your first point of focus. Press 2, and as you can imagine, that goes to your second point of focus, which is of course that plant in the background right at the back. And we can tap 3, and that brings that forward focus to the middle plant. Absolutely an outstanding feature in Beastcam, and I love the way that their automatic focus pull works, and it's 10 times better than Film It Pro. It's a lot clearer, it's a lot easier. You've also got the zoom feature, which I would never use in a phone because of exactly this issue where it gets noisy. So I'd always keep that focus nice and clean and zoom completely out so you don't have any noise issues from that. ISO works in the same way with the wheel. You can bring that ISO up to brighten up the image, or down, which I'd always keep at its lowest number. And again, when it's locked, like everything else, it will be in blue. Shutter speed works in the same way. It's nice and smooth, and it's great that you can lock your ISO and shutter speed. It's really, really useful thing to have. There is smart exposure. So on the bottom right here, you got SE, that's smart exposure. Tap on that. And as you move it down, look at the ISO and the shutter speed. And if you raise that, eventually, because you're raising the exposure so much, the ISO will start moving with the shutter speed as well. Now, I don't know if this is something that's going to be useful for other people. For me, it's not particularly useful, but some might enjoy the fact that you can specify your shutter speed down to a single digit. And of course, you've got the camera below the record button, which you can then choose to go into photo mode. If you go into the files that you've just shot, you can see if you name them, you've got them already organized for you. This is absolutely incredible. You don't get this with Film It Pro, but in Beastcam, rather than searching through all of your clips, you can just go straight to your gallery, straight to a project that you've created, and all your clips will be there. Now, if you look at the settings at the bottom, everything is locked in blue that I want locked in blue. If I come out of the app, and then I go back into the app, hey presto, all those settings are still there. So it's really nice to know that with Beastcam, when you come out of the app, as long as you don't close it completely, and even then you can come back with a preset, it's all locked in and ready to go straight away. Now, just like any smartphone filmmaking app, there are downsides to the Beastcam app. And the first one being is that you don't get any time-lapse option. Now, that's not something that particularly affects me, but I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who would love to use time-lapse, and you don't get that with Beastcam. Now, you also don't get the option to create slow motion within the app. You can film it up to 60, 120, 240 frames per second, and then convert that into slow motion in post-production. But unlike Film It Pro, you can't create slow motion clips within the app by changing the playback frame rate. I would love to have the option of shooting in flat or log profile so that I can have more options when it comes to color grading in post-production. And I'll be happy to pay more to get that if it's still a single price with the Beastcam. The other side to this app is that you don't get a film it remote type option. So if you want to be able to record yourself with one device and then control that device with a second one, you can't do that, which means it's harder to actually film yourself and get unique shots where you're setting up the camera and then controlling it with a different device. You don't get that kind of Film It Remote-like option. I'm gonna kill that dog. You also don't get picture-in-picture, which you can get in Film It Pro, so you can't film yourself, have that on screen and an image of what you're looking at on the camera at the same time. Now, another strange downside to the Beastcam app is when you're filming with an anamorphic lens. Now, you can shoot with a 1.3 or 1.55 anamorphic lens using the adapter function in the app, but when you're filming with those adapters in the anamorphic lens, you can't actually see in real time what you're filming de-squeezed. So you don't have a preview of what it looks like as you're filming de-squeeze. You can only de-squeeze it once you've filmed it, press stop, and then you can convert it into an anamorphic footage, which means if you're filming something with an anamorphic lens, like an actual short film like I would, you're not gonna see it de-squeeze until you finish the take, which is really difficult to work with. So I don't know why there seems to be a limitation on the app of Beastcam to not be able to do this, but if they could convert it in a preview and in the app straight away, that would be super helpful. But it is something that I would like to see change, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to make a whole film with an anamorphic lens with the Beastcam app. So who is this app really geared towards? I personally would say it's for someone who really just wants the basic controls in a filmmaking app. It's £1.99 currently and £4.99 at maximum price, so it's a real bargain for what it gives you. I think it's a really, really good option for someone on a low budget, doesn't want to use a subscription fee, wants to get something that gives them the basic controls. You don't need all the bells and whistles of a fancy, high advanced app. You just want something that can control your video nice and cleanly. That is exactly who the Beastcam app is for, so let me know your thoughts on this app down below. I look forward to hearing from you and see you in the next one. Bye bye.